does not look great. I need more. Marshmallow. Didn't finish setting up. So unprofessional. So unprofessional. My water bottle's falling over. I'm getting the couch wet. Just so unprofessional. So, typical video for me. It's a live stream. It's a live stream. Gotta have the intro in the live stream about the theisms and the atheisms and the whatnots. Also stalling to see if anyone will join. Not that that matters to anyone watching this afterwards. But I like having chats. I do just do these live and just post them afterwards. So just stall, mumble. I'm very good at rambling on just nonsense. So I'm very good at just wasting time until someone comes in. Want to see a kitten? Snickers. She didn't look happy, but she was purring, so take it. What's this live stream about? One thing that's been kind of getting me lately is commenters who don't understand what an atheist is. I see so many comments about the atheist worldview. Atheists believe in this thing. You're an atheist, you think this. And they're just incorrect. And a lot of it's just ignorance. And I don't know. I feel like there's so much more behind the word atheist when you're a part of a religion like Christianity. You can kind of see Snickers in the frame, cool. Like when I was a Christian growing up, I always thought that atheists were, a whole laundry list of things, evil, sinners, that they were mean, that they were, whatever, just all the negative stuff that I'm sure a lot of Christians think. And then you get into the real world and you meet some, and you maybe even become one, and you realize, oh, they're just kind of people. Hello. So an atheist is just someone who lacks belief in a God. That's it. That's it. That is it. It's not a worldview. There's not like a list. We don't have like the 10 Commandments or anything. We don't have a book to go by. It's just, do you hold the belief in a God? No? Well, you're an atheist. Good for you. And it doesn't matter if you claim to know that there is a God or there is not. It's just, do you hold the belief? No? Well, then you're an atheist. And then that's it. That's it. So when people, well, we'll just jump right into some of them. I think let's start big. Atheists believe that everything came from nothing. It is a common comment that I and a lot of atheist content creators get. I have 2 cats in the same screen. This will get me views. Sorry. I get a lot of commenters saying, atheists believe that everything came from nothing. No. I and many others just don't know where everything came from. And just because we don't know doesn't mean we just get to plug God into that gap. But I don't know. Also, God supposedly created everything out of nothing. So it's more of a Christian idea. There has to have been something that created the universe. Everything has to start somewhere. There has to be something that got us all going. Sure. I'm not really of the mindset that it just kind of poofed into existence. I just don't know how it got here. That's it. We've got Big Bang cosmology, and we have understandings of how solar systems are formed and whatnot. Stars forming elements and then exploding and scattering those elements and then making more stars that make more planets and then explode. We have some understanding, but it's like, how did everything get here? I don't know. And that's a perfectly fine, intellectually honest answer. I don't know. So it's not just like, I always hear it. Oh, you just believe that, like almost every day I get a comment. You believe that everything came from nothing. I don't have faith to be an atheist. It doesn't take any faith to be an atheist. It doesn't take any faith to say I don't have sufficient reason to believe that there is a God. You know, it's not how it works. It's just not how it works. Your eyes are glowing. Um, it's just, I don't know, and that's really all it is. And then these aren't even like worldview. You know, like when as soon as you say atheists believe this, that the universe came from nothing, that there, it's no. That atheists lack belief in a God. That's it. That's it. Or people say, well, atheists, believe that humans came from monkeys. I got a comment today. But a monkey became a human in 1,000 years is science. And somebody actually liked that comment, even though it's the dumbest thing that you could say about evolution, because humans did not come from monkeys. Humans and monkeys evolved from a common ancestor, and I don't really think there's any big evolutionary change that takes place over such a small time span as 1,000 years. So it's just like, first off, it's not an atheist standpoint. It's a biological standpoint. There are atheists who don't believe in evolution. There are theists who do believe in evolution. It's not a part of the world. It's I don't know. And when people say, "Oh, atheism is a religion," it's not. It's not. It is a response to a claim. There is a God. I don't believe you. That's it. That's it. When it comes to theists, and especially like people part of organized religions, yeah, they have a list. They have a worldview. They have a book. They have commandments. The whatever else, depending on the religion. We don't. We don't. And there's so many different things that people plug in and say, like, oh, that's part of the atheist worldview. It's not. It's not. And you're wrong because you don't know anything about biology. How am I today? I'm doing all right. I get the next 2 days off, and then I work 2 days, and then I have 6 days off. So like over the next 10 days, I only work for 2 days. That's kind of cool. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna do nothing, just a little staycation, just slow down and stop. It just would be nice. And people like to run off with stuff as well. It's like, well, you're an atheist, so you don't believe in God. Therefore, you believe A, B, C, D, F, G, H. Hold on. Sometimes those things are true depending on the atheist, but there really isn't a blanket statement that applies to all atheists other than you lack belief in a God. That's really it. There are even atheists who believe in afterlives, in spiritual energy, in ghosts. There are atheists, like I said, that don't believe in evolution or don't believe in the Big Bang. It's more complicated than that. And I know there's obviously different ideas around Christianity and other religions, different denominations, and different people with different ideas. But it's still, when it comes to those religions, there's still like a set thing that you're supposed to follow, and there's a thing that a lot of them are supposed to agree on, and things that naturally follow some of their beliefs. We don't have that. We don't have a rule book or anything. It's just not how it works. It's just really, really, really is not. And then there's a lot of dismissing and discrediting. It's like you just want to sin. You just hate God. You just had a bad experience. You didn't have a true relationship. Just I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of those. Just different ways that just seem dismissive. There are a lot of ad hominem attacks. They just seem to try to dismiss and discredit atheists, and especially former believers, and actual legitimate grievances that they have with a given religion. And it just seems so interesting how much I get, even Christians in my comment section towards me, just attacking me so much and just trying to dismiss and discredit me so much without actually engaging with some of my points. It's like if you destroy someone and just discredit them so much, nobody's going to care what they have to say. Because surely if I can make this guy look like an idiot or, dismiss and discredit him, nobody will listen to him, even though that's not how it works. Because what's being said however true or not true it is, isn't necessarily dependent on who's saying it. You can you can try to dismiss and discredit me. Maybe I am. Well, I'm not. But what if maybe we'll say I was just an angry atheist? Just hate Christians. I'm angry at God. I love Satan. I just want to sin. Say it's all those things. And then I say stuff like, we have no good reason to believe that there's a God. That's true. That's true. You know? And there are issues with Christianity. And there are issues with the Bible. These things don't go away just because you tear someone down. If the Joker tells you not to jump off a cliff, well, he's the Joker. So he doesn't care about your well-being. So why would he be telling you so surely you can jump off the cliff? No. He's still right. You still shouldn't jump off the cliff, even though it is the Joker, and you shouldn't trust him. And that's why there's other things you need to take into account that aren't just, look at this guy. Well, this guy's saying it, so therefore it must not be true. Because he's just stupid. So if someone stupid says it, it must not be true. That's not how anything works. Stuff gets more complicated than that. And that's why I like to encourage people to do their own research. And it's also why I do a lot of dismissing and discrediting of myself. It's like, yeah, no, I'm not a professional. I'm not even smart, I don't think. So don't just take my word for it. Please don't just take my word for anything. And I know people like to do that sometimes with content creators that they watch, even atheist content creators. They'll just take something that a content creator says and just run with it. And I've seen people take what an atheist content creator says, something that they say is just completely wrong, and someone will just take it and run with it and just treat it as fact without giving any actual study into it, without actually like looking up the topic and fact checking it and whatnot. And sometimes stuff just is wrong, and sometimes people get it wrong, and sometimes it's completely unintentional. Sometimes we're just dumb. Sometimes we're just humans that make mistakes. But you can't just, and especially you can sometimes tell. I growing up, I always hated when teachers would like have a test and they're like, explain this concept in your own words. I always hated that because like I can regurgitate what I read in the textbook and I understand what it says in the textbook. Look, I can write it down. That's not understanding. So when you see people just blatantly copying word for word what other people are saying, what content creators that they saw online are saying or things like that, it kind of does say that they don't really have a good understanding. And if you press them on it and question them a little bit more, you might see that all they had was that, that surface statement. They don't have any understanding backing behind it. So it's listen to what others have to say and then go and do your own research and be able to understand it so much that you can put it in your own words and have more than just the sentence in front of it. Be able to explain the sentence and explain the argument. Don't just listen to anyone. So credibility doesn't matter at the end of the day. Facts matter. Is maybe that's the moral of the story. Another issue a lot of people have is when people point out, well, this intelligent scientist or this wonderful person in human history was a Christian. Cool. Christians can be smart. Christians can be dumb. Christians can be wonderful people. Christians can be terrible people. And atheists can do the same. And it's always interesting, like, oh, well, some of our best scientists throughout history were Christians. Okay, did they make their discoveries by divine revelation, or did they make their discoveries by doing science? Because anyone can do science. Anyone can study it and learn it and get good at it. So why bring in the whole God or Christian aspect? Let's just cut out the middleman. If they didn't use this God or divine intervention to make their discoveries, they just use science that anyone can use, why are we talking about the God? Why does it matter? Especially if someone can get the same results when they don't believe in a God. We have no need for that hypothesis then. We have no need for the God hypothesis. We have no need to put that in. Hello. There's just no need for it. It's also an appeal to authority. It's like, no, this smart person believed in God, therefore it must be true. belief has really, well, I wouldn't even say nothing, but belief isn't based on intelligence. It's really not. It could be, in a sense that anything that goes on in your brain has an effect on who you are and what you believe and what you do and what you say. But I would not connect a direct link between intelligence and Christianity or intelligence and atheism. It's just not how it works, especially with religion. There's a lot more that goes into religion. There's indoctrination and manipulation. There's the comforts that come from religion. There's people not understanding how something works, and then, oh, that gives an answer. I had this experience that I can't explain. It felt like it was something supernatural, therefore it must be something supernatural. I felt God, moving in my heart. I have no other way to describe it, therefore it has to be God. There's so much more that goes into religion. And especially when you get that conditioning. When I first came out as I first came out as bisexual and then pansexual later. But when I first came out, when I first accepted my same-sex attractions, I had been fighting back against them my entire life. I was raised Catholic, went to Catholic schools K through 12th grade, was told it was wrong, and later on was told that it's Satan whispering in your ear trying to tear you away from God. So every time I would have those same-sex attractions, I would try to push Satan out of my head. I would sit there and just try with all my might, just to get the thoughts out, Satan's attacking me. By the time I got to 8th grade, I no longer thought that homosexuality was wrong. By the time I left high school, I was actively speaking out in defense of homosexuality. Actively speaking out that there was nothing wrong with it. It wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I had my last thing of trying to push Satan out of my brain because I thought he was, because I had same-sex attraction, so I got to push Satan out of my brain. And I remember I was in front of the bathroom mirror, classic setting, look up myself in the mirror. I was in front of the bathroom mirror, and it just kind of clicked. I'm sitting here trying to fight off Satan. It just kind of clicked, and I was like, what the hell am I talking about? It's like, I like guys, but I also like girls. So I'm bi. And that's fine. I had been advocating for the LGBTQ plus community for years prior to this. And for years before that, I didn't see anything wrong with it. But that conditioning, that conditioned response that overrode all of my logic and reasoning and intelligence would take over anytime I would have those same-sex attractions and thoughts. So it's not always about intelligence or somebody's ability to reason. There's so much more, and it's not always manipulation or conditioning. It's just so much more complicated. It's so much more complicated. Thank you, Satan, for encouraging people to find love in all human beings, right, though? It's so much more complicated. Especially, you gotta look at how many religions we have. How many supernatural beliefs there are out there. How many gods people have come up with. They're not all the same. There's so many different diverging paths. It's because there's something to it. There's something our brains just like attributing things to the supernatural. Maybe it's to fill gaps. Maybe it's because we were raised to believe that. Maybe it's because we thought that we felt something and think that we have a personal connection. It gets so much more complicated than intelligence. So when you say, oh, this smart scientist was a Christian, good for him, it doesn't mean Christianity is true. It doesn't. And no matter how much you try to dismiss or discredit me or any other atheist, it does not change anything about whether or not this God that you believe in, or any God, actually exists. It gets more complicated. It gets more complicated. You can't just simplify stuff. Such woe to the human condition, far too susceptible to irrational things. Yes. I agree. There's so many things. There's so many things that factor into it. So many things that factor into stuff. even like church music, because that feeling that people get that they attribute to like God or having some kind of spiritual experience can be had through secular means, including music, which coincidentally is played in churches, often very loud. It, there's more to it, and you really just got to look at that and break those things down and try to get into the psychological aspects of what's really going on and what responses people have to different stimuli that gives the same responses that might give that same feeling of euphoria or enlightenment or spiritual whatever. There's so much more. When I was in college, I someone wrote just be on like a paper towel dispenser. And a stressed out college student, that was good advice. Like, just relax. And when I read that, I was washing my hands with cold water. And it was such a comforting message that it gave me that little warm fuzzy in my heart. Every time I wash my hands with cold water now, I get the warm fuzzies. Does that mean that I was having some kind of spiritual experience? No. It means my brain connected some things and now finds more comfort and peace when I'm running my hands under cold water. Doesn't mean anything supernatural happened, but it gets that feeling. What other comments do we have? What other videos have I? You ever like? I don't know who all post stuff, but people who post stuff, do you ever forget what you post? You ever forget what you posted? I love I love it when people. I get some commenters on some platforms who will watch multiple videos. So like they'll be around. They've been around for a while, and they'll say like, "Oh, you never talk about this," and I have talked about it, and I'll talk about it again. Sometimes addressing their specific comment, and then like a week later they'll be like, "You still never address this." I just, I, I do though, And there have been videos where there's been like weeks worth of videos where I've just recycled reiterated the same topic over and over, and I was still getting comments about how I never talk about that topic. And it's like, well, screw this, I'm just gonna say what it is. Like a lot of people have been asking, as they always do, like what happened? How did you lose your faith? I posted a deconstruction video on this platform, and I advertised it across all of my other platforms. So if you've been around, if you're new, whatever, but if you've been around and you're constantly hounding me about this and that, and constantly in my comment sections, you should like. Did you intentionally ignore it, or I don't know. I don't quite forget what I post, but that's probably because I post very few things. Yeah, I post quite a bit. I post quite a bit. And sometimes I'll record them in like a week in advance. This is a good one. This guy is not a true atheist. Under atheism, there's no obligation to even be moral, let alone any atheist moral code to follow. Under true atheism, it is a free-for-all and people can act how they want. Morality does not exist under true atheism. Now, I'm not going to go too deep into the whole, secular morality because I go into it quite a bit. But I would like to start off by saying no true Scotsman. Which true atheist? Oh, you're not a true atheist. Or when people say, like, oh, you're an agnostic because you say you say you don't know if there's a God. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. Yeah, I don't. But I don't believe that there is. So I more specifically classify as an agnostic atheist. There's like true atheist, and it just goes back to that negative worldview or that negative mindset of atheists. So they're just evil. They have no sense of morality, no point in existing, no nothing. No, it's just not true. Hello. A theist telling an atheist what makes them truly an atheist. That's funny. It is funny. And especially, I think a lot of them do it just so, just as another ad hominem attack, to dismiss and discredit. Somebody, I made a post a while back, and it's like, how many unborn babies do you think God took the lives of in the Bible? And someone said, none, because he doesn't exist. All right, shut up. That's not what I asked. It's like, okay, I don't believe that he exists or any of it happened either. But in the Bible, as it's written, how many do you think he took? If I tell you how many people did Voldemort, if I ask how many people did Voldemort kill, in the whole Harry Potter universe, and you say it's not real, hey, that's not what I was asking. What are my thoughts on the atheist approach to Nietzsche versus hedonism? I don't know what that first one is. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to have to look it up and make sure I know what hedonism is too. There's so many different definitions. Yeah, seeking only pleasure and yeah. What was that? That's such a word. Net. Oh, it's a person. Oh, Oh, Friedrich Nietzsche. Oh, I didn't know that's how you spelled his name. It's such a long. It's one of those things. Just like there's like 2 syllables in that. It was like 10-letter name. Nietzsche on hedonism. I haven't really read what he said. I'm not really going to read any of these. I don't really subscribe to hedonism. I think there's more important things than just seeking pleasure. Why do Christians hate Eve so much when, unlike her, they have knowledge of good and evil? How was Eve supposed to know that it was going to disobey God? I see a lot of Christians will just say, well, he told them not to eat the fruit. But yeah, you're right. They didn't have the knowledge of good and evil with which to understand that was a bad thing to do because they hadn't eaten he didn't give them that knowledge. He put that knowledge in a fruit, said don't touch that, and then put a great tempter to come and tempt his naive creation while his back was turned. Or while he just sat back off to the side and watched. Adam and Eve were set up. I'm not a professional comedian. I'm not a professional anything. Trinity is one of the greatest philosophers of all time. He's the guy who said God is dead and we have killed him. Okay. Yeah, I've heard of him. I didn't know that was how you spelled his name. There's no such thing as an ex-Christian. There is, though. Hi. I'm here. Also, just scrolling through chat, my wife said that she loves me. Hi, Taylor, I love you too. I'm sorry. Genesis 1 and 2 have way different orders of creations. Yeah, 2 creation accounts are a little weird. It's even better when Christians try to say, well, it matches what science says. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Night and day in plants did not exist before the sun did. I'm sorry. It's just not how it is. I also, and maybe this is a bit nitpicky, but I find it interesting. God says, we'll make 2 bright lights in the sky. We'll make the brighter to govern the day and the lesser to govern the night. The sun and the moon. So the sun governs the day, sure, because it's out during the day, because it brings day. But the moon's not always out at night. You know, I'll walk outside at like noon when the sun is out, and I'll see the moon in the sky. It's like, hey, God, come get your boy. He's drunk in daytime's front yard. Like, why'd you say why'd you say that governs the night when it's not in the night sky half the time? How did you get a font, Spacey? Oh yes, they went out from us, but they did not really belong to us. For if they belonged to us, they would have remained with us. But their going showed that none of them. Yeah, that passage. Yeah, uh, saying that you were never a true Christian to begin with is a great way to dismiss and discredit any legitimate grievances a former believer might have, while also alleviating the fears that a believer could also lose their faith. Because if somebody who actually had faith lost their faith, that means they could too, and that's a terrifying thought. It was terrifying for me when I still believed. So we just brushed it off our plate, especially because the Bible says so. It says it clearly written. You know, among all of the other fail safes that it has written, and almost like someone was coming up with a religion and thought about these, a good chess player maybe, thought about all these different ways, you know, thinking themselves wise, they become dumb. They went after the secular knowledge. It's not the words exact paraphrasing, but they went after the worldly knowledge and they lost the knowledge of God. And it's just little things to just other anyone who isn't a Christian, anyone who's left Christianity, anyone who is never a part of Christianity. Say it's us, and then it's them who are lost. Um, when in reality, that's just not the case. There are true Christians. There are preachers, pastors. There are devout Christians, people who believed they had an amazing relationship with God who still lost their faith. It can happen, and it can happen to you. I used to never think it could happen to me. I used to think that there was nothing in the world that could stop me from believing in God. And here I am. So, you know, it's, you never really know. You never really know. This is what an atheist looks like. It says Cliff, one of the most unprepared atheists. Yeah. Cliff goes around debating random teenagers on the street who are wholly unprepared on the topic, and then uses that to make Christians feel more affirmed about their beliefs. Yeah. And I mean, it's there's a lot of content creators that do it. I'm not saying it's good, but there are a lot of content creators who will go out and then they'll use the clips that make them feel amazing. You know, when he's talking to some random teenage atheist who is not prepared to give an actual debate, that's the clip he'll use. Of when he's just destroying them, that's the clip that he'll use. I don't know. Maybe there are clips where he actually does get got, where somebody actually does get the upper hand. He's probably not going to post those, because why would you? You're trying to promote yourself. You're trying to promote what you're doing. But yeah. This is the scripture, yeah. Oh, you have an app for the font. That's interesting. Have I ever read Joseph Ratzinger? He's got a fantastic explanation of Genesis that is not fundamentalist or anti-reason. The name sounds so familiar. It's calling me back to high school Christian apologetics. It's like there, right? It's like there. Regardless, I haven't heard that thing. I might need to look it up. I'm gonna put that in my Joseph Ratzinger. I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to at least put a name to the face. Ratzinger. Was that a bishop? Or a pope? I know I should probably know this. Ratzinger. There was like a bishop or a pope whose like actual name was Ratzinger. Wasn't there? I should know this. There's so many names. I don't know if you guys know this, but when you're like actually trying to write things down as you speak to a chat. It's hard. When you're really trying to get into like apologetics, Christian versus atheist apologetics, and you're really trying to study up on all this stuff, there's a lot. There's a lot. Like the amount of times people will bring up like an argument or something that I've heard 1,000 times and that I've thought about and engaged with 1,000 times that I still have to quickly look up on Google just to remind myself of what it is. Or names. I'm terrible with names in general. Add that to like the whole list of people that I'm trying to learn in different religion I'm trying to learn. Especially since I'm not smart, you know? We go by scripture, not your feelings. Why should you go by scripture? Mumbling nonsense all day, every day. Hey, I feel like I'm behind in chat. May I ask what made you drift away from the faith? Studying to try to... Was Pope Benedict? Oh, that's right. That's right. He's a theologian. I recommend reading with an open mind. He's very pro-faith combined with reason. Okay, that is right. I do remember that now. Well, I wrote down his Genesis explanation. I'll try to look into him a little bit more. What was I reading? I was reading something. Sorry. I have ADHD, so I'll bounce so much. Diving into my studies to try to defend my faith and taking a closer look at things and realizing that there's really no good reason to believe in any of it. Slowly, and that's the sparkiest of Spark Notes versions. For a 7-year process. In one of my past lives, I think live number 9, a couple weeks ago, I went through like 45 minutes, went through my deconstruction story. Not that you'd want to watch that, but like that's the quick version. You know, insulting people isn't very Christian of you, David. You know, David, you're not being very nice, and you're coming across as very, my book says so. So nothing can touch it. The Bible says if you leave Christianity, you're never a true Christian to begin with. So period. Period. You know, and there's a little bit more to that. And you studied some stuff, and that's great. I'm happy for you. I hope that continues. It's always good, but like, I don't know. And now you're just kind of being insulting and stuff. I think you just need to chill a little bit. Any thoughts on the literary value of the Bible, even if it's not real? I mean, it's a small library of different things. There's definitely some literary value. Sorry. As well as there's literally a cat wagging her tail in my face. I'm distracted. Can I help you with something? What was I saying? Literary value. Yeah, I'd say there's some literary value in the Bible. Hello. Cat got your tongue. Cat does indeed have my tongue. Bible does have some tea. I'm cute? Well, thank you. David, you should be kind to people. You're just coming across as a little arrogant right now. Nothing wrong with calling out the trash? Studied 18 other books removed from the Bible when I was interning at the Vatican. That's pretty cool. I need to get I started reading this, uh, which has a lot of the Apocrypha in it, apocryphal texts, however you want to say it. Those are interesting to read through. I've only read one of them, but I want to read through the rest of them. It's also great. Can I just say, after reading the King James Bible, and even the New American Bible, and even the New English Translation, the language in the New Revised Standard Version is dopamine to the brain. It's so much more just simply modern English put. It's so much easier to read. Because like I have an associate's in English or literature. I've studied Shakespeare. I can read, the Shakespearean whatnot of the King James Bible. But damn it if I don't have to. you know? I think David should be put into a naughty corner. He's obviously not going to be bringing anything interesting or positive to the chat. Honestly, I was kind of just waiting for your say so. I didn't want to. You were having a conversation. I didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. I didn't know how much fun you were having. I decided to mute him like 5 minutes ago. Sometimes even when someone's like being a troll or being like, whatever, it's still fun to like bat back and forth. And so, what do I think about free will? Free will is an interesting topic. Especially, I don't believe in souls or anything like that. So I believe that we are stuff that the brain is doing. So is there free will? Just focusing on that. Obviously, we can expand it to like if we have a soul and whatnot, and that gets a little bit more complicated. Because if we have a soul, I don't see why we couldn't have free will. But from a secular perspective, if we're just stuff firing off in our brain, do we have free will? Do we? And if so, how much? It's something I don't love thinking about, but it is definitely interesting. reading Augustine of Hippo, Thomas Aquinas, really anything by Joseph Ratzinger are intellectually ways to engage with authentic Christian thought. Yeah. I would love to read Summa Theologica. It's just long. Isn't it like multiple different volumes? It's long. And I like having like hard covers of stuff, and a full collection costs like over $100. I don't have that money. So one day, it's on my list. I think I was mainly hoping that David would be tripped up, or there would be some hope that he could be reasoned with, but it just wasn't there. And sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's not right now. It could be that we can revisit. I mean, I was a devout Christian. I was pretty set in my beliefs. Anything that anyone said against Christianity, I would think, oh, you're just stupid and wrong. That I used to be a lot like David, and I used to be very much triggered by, atheist posts and whatnot. So I understand it. But it is one of those things. Sometimes you're not going to convince someone overnight, but maybe just little somethings here and there, little seeds sprinkled out here and there might do a little bit of something. Hey, soul sister, there's no copyright here. Good song. The actual song, not whatever I just sang. I no longer believe in anything supernatural, personally. Sorry, wrong group. I don't know if I'd say that was the wrong group. That's a good song. Yeah, I was just trying to explain to some Christians that we're NPCs. I don't think that's the most wrong thing. I think that's pretty accurate from a secular worldview. Like 3 or 5 volumes, yeah. How long have you been an atheist? And did you experience problems with friends and family? If you don't mind talking about them. I do not mind. Had some issues with friends and family. Haven't really had any confrontations. There's been a couple, like, that started and then, like, ended because, like, you know, we had to, like, we were in a hurry to leave or whatever. Most of the issues that have been had with me have been said behind my back, which is great. I've gotten into a couple arguments with friends and family, even lost some people. Have some people who don't really talk to me anymore, which is sad, which is definitely hard. Unfortunately, that just kind of comes with the territory. I was raised Christian, so the vast majority of my friends and family are still Christian. And unfortunately, not all of them are as open or accepting of me, especially when I'm out here speaking out against Christianity. You know, it's not all their fault. How long how long have I been an atheist? About 2 years. It's been about 2 years. If you don't count, there was like 6 or so months prior to me becoming an atheist where I still believed in God, but I'm like, there's no reason. You know, there's no. You know, I was like just not quite ready to let go yet. So maybe more like 2.5-ish years. But yeah. Eucharistic miracles, Marian apparitions, I would just need more evidence that they happened. The Shroud of Turin, there's a lot of debates on its authenticity, whether it was just some medieval artwork or if it was the actual shroud. And unfortunately, with stuff like that, when you look into it, I was looking into, somebody mentioned some Egyptian papyrus scroll thing that they say confirms the Exodus account, that confirms the Exodus narrative in the Bible. And all I got was either, when I tried to look into it, and it was just briefly when I had time today, I haven't done it extensively, but all I kept getting were Christian articles that are saying, yeah, it supports the Exodus because of this, and atheist articles or you know, secular articles who say it doesn't quite because of this. It's like, what does it say? You know, it's, what does it say? And that's one thing with the Shroud of Turin, looking that up. It's just like, so much being said on both sides. It's just like, who's right? So at the moment, it really, I seem to be a little bit more compelled, and perhaps due to bias, that it's not really authentic. Miracles, I don't have any reason to believe that miracles happen, or Marian apparitions. There can be probably better explanations. Hallucinations, lying, thinking that something is something when it's not. So when it comes to just miracles or like people seeing things or experiencing things like that, it's not the best evidence. It's very long, the Summa, but worth reading. But I get the length. It really helpful guide to intellectually engage questions about God, Jesus, morality, etc. Thank you for being open, of course. Yeah, I honestly, I've come to the conclusion lately that I just kind of have a reading disability. When I read, it creates such a headache, and it actually, like, I'm out of it for like the rest of the day. Like, it actually like messes with my brain. Don't ask me how for the last 2 years I've read the Bible twice. I've read the twice, yeah, twice, almost twice. I jump around in it so much. At least 1.5 times. 1.5. Final answer. The Quran, the Case for Christ, the Satanic Bible, the Bhagavad Gita, the Tao Te Ching, a book on Buddhism, and I think a couple other things. Don't ask me how I've read all of those. It's been awful. So lately I've just been listening to audiobooks. Like, I'm listening to an audiobook of the Book of Mormon right now, just because it's so much easier for my brain to digest it that way and to get through it, because I can't read. Reading is just too much of an actual headache and a mental strain for me, like to an unhealthy extent. where the deconstruction started? Is there a specific doubt, or did something cause you to no longer believe? It was really just diving into my studies. And the more I looked at it, the more I studied scripture, church history, arguments for the existence of a God, arguments against the existence of a God, scientific explanations for things, other religions and their beliefs and why they believe and their histories. It was just kind of peeking behind the curtain, it was taking a closer look. And when you take that closer look, sometimes things like gods and the supernatural just really start to lose their credibility. And slowly, over the course of like 7 years, that's just kind of what happened. I just looked more into it and I studied both sides more. And at the end of the day, it really just didn't seem like there was anything supernatural out there. Wesley, why are you screaming about dead children? Hello? Would you say that's ADHD, dyslexia, or both? Definitely ADHD, because I have ADHD. But I also don't know. I think maybe a little bit of dyslexia, but I haven't been... I'm sorry, I'm trying to fix my camera. It's probably horrible for you guys. I definitely have ADHD. I feel like I might have some kind of dyslexia or something. I'm just not really sure. But I don't know. I really don't know what it all is. It also doesn't help that I'm still kind of recovering from my head injury. I still got some nerve damage from when I slammed my head back in March 5th. So that's just, it's caused more issues, and it's also just caused me to be a little bit more mindful of my head, to not push myself so much, to not put such a strain and headaches. Like, you're possibly damaging things. Stop, So I don't know. But I think audiobooks just might be the way to go. I want to know genuinely, what do you think created everything? If it was something, why did that something create when it did, and how did order come without direction? I don't know. And that's... Why is my phone all droop? Why is my thing not... It's going to be sideways. I'm sorry. Professional setup. I don't know. I really don't have that answer of how it all got here. And the whole, the fine-tuning argument. I'm usually careful when it comes to words like order or fine-tuning, because the universe is pretty chaotic. The world is pretty chaotic. The human body is pretty chaotic. I had a guy in my class, a couple years after we graduated, had an aneurysm. And he died. That's pretty chaotic. I had a good friend of mine who suddenly had abdominal issues and died 2 days later. So it's order, intelligent design, fine-tuning. This is too much messiness, and especially looking into the universe. How does order come from chaos? It depends on where you're looking. The solar system, we have relative order and calm because we run out of things to hit. If you look around, especially at a lot of moons and some of the smaller planets, you see a lot of craters. Because the beginning of the solar system was pretty violent, just things bouncing into each other. But as things collided, got yeeted out of the solar system, we had less stuff to collide into, and things kind of settled into their orbits and hit everything that needed to be hit in those orbits. So now we don't really hit them. So we've just run out of things to hit. That's why we've found kind of a relative calm in the universe, or in the solar system, sorry. But the universe is still plenty chaotic. There's still plenty of craziness going on in the universe. I have not read or watched Hugh Ross. I did start reading the astrobiology primer. I wish I had an audiobook. Reading's hard. I've seen some Christopher Hitchens. with that, I do think, why is my phone, why doesn't it want it? Why don't you want it? Nope, that's not the right way. Why don't you want it? It just got the droop. It just got the droop. Is it my charger? Does that help? No, kind of. I'm almost done with the live anyway. Oh, for somebody else. I'm sorry. Asking what created everything smuggles into question the concept of needing a creator when it hasn't been proven that anything was created or that in fact is a creator. Yeah, it's words like when people say, you know, what created or who. Whenever someone smuggles in the word who, it's like, how do you know it was a who? You know, and creator, design, things like this is, I don't know. We don't have any evidence for that. Cosmic Skeptic. Is that Alex O'Connor? I feel drained after reading as well. Gonna research dyslexia a little. Yeah, I've gotta have something. And I didn't read a whole lot growing up, so that's probably it. Alex O'Connor. I love Alex O'Connor. I could listen to him all day. Do enjoy watching his videos. And I love that he's just, not only is he just so knowledgeable on the topic, but he's very professional and kind and polite. And like he'll have Christians on his show and he won't like debate them. He'll more like pick their brain. And he'll be very like he won't feel the need to like push and be overbearing on them. And if they say something that's, you know, it's a good point, he'll admit it. He'll be like, I might have to think about that a little bit more. I need to watch convincing ChatGPT that God exists, or that it's he made a video where he was trying to convince it that it was sentient, that it was like alive. I need to watch that. I don't have a whole lot of time to watch anything these days. Traditional can't read Lutheran here. I've never seen your content before, but here now. When dealing with the multitude of witnesses to the resurrection and their conviction to death, how do you respond? Prove that there were multiple witnesses. Because we don't have any first-hand eyewitness accounts of Jesus' death or resurrection. We just have things that say that there were eyewitnesses. So that's number one. Number two, a lot of people are willing to die for what they believe. And I understand if you read the Bible and you take it as literal, yeah, it gets a little bit more solidified that, you know, they saw it, it's undeniable, and they're willing to die for it. But when you can't really prove that the events in the Bible happened or that the witnesses were actually there, the Gospels aren't eyewitness accounts. At least the majority of scholars don't think they are. It doesn't quite get there because people have given their lives for other religions or other belief systems or their countries. Countries go to war and people will fight for their country. So the willingness to die for something, while noble, does not make that something true. It does not give credibility to it. I mean, you can even look up things like the Heaven's Gate cult and just see what people are willing to die for. I do follow Christy Burke. I like watching her videos. I got GPT, see, I can't read, to unequivocally, morally condemn Kent Uyghur today. I don't know how to read that. If I start a cult, I'm down to join. You know, I like to say that's how I know I have some kind of moral compass, because I was really good with getting people to I used to speak out in defense of Christianity, and I helped a lot of people in their faith, especially close friends and family, but some strangers as well. And a lot of people thought I was being called to become a priest. If I didn't have a moral compass, I didn't care about people being harmed or truth or anything like that, I would be making Christian content because it would be a lot easier to make it. Especially if I just wanted to make money off of it, it'd be so much easier to make it and so much easier and faster to grow if I did that. It'd be so much better, so much easier, and I really think I could do it, but I have this stupid moral compass. 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for everyone who subscribed, but if I abandoned my morality, I could have so much more. It is so easy to interpret the Bible in whatever way. Yeah, you can open just about any page of the Bible and find something and twist it to make it relevant to something else. I could interpret the Bible in the way I actually agree with. You are right. If you want to make money, start a religion. Yeah, that's. I really hope, because I sometimes joke, because my channel is Drew Skaggs, because that's my name. It's not Atheist Drew, it's not ex-Catholic Drew, it's Drew Skaggs. I post what I want to post, I talk about what I want to talk about. I'm very passionate about religion, and I love talking about it and learning about it, and so it just works great, having a platform where people actually care and listen to me, and I can actually talk about it more. It's great. Sometimes I post cat videos. I can do whatever I want. I could switch hats tomorrow and start advocating for Christianity. And I just wonder how my followers would respond if they would think, if the first thought would be, he's gone back to being a Christian, or he's lost his moral compass and he's taking the easy way and just doing this for views or monetization or something. Not so easy to abandon morality. Even if you make a decision to do it, the empathy within you aches painfully. So, and trying to disregard it is unpleasant. Yeah, I mean, I get upset with myself now sometimes, knowing that in the past I've had people come up to me back when I was advocating and supporting Christianity. I had people come up to me who were struggling in their faith, who could have found their way out, and I helped them strengthen their faith. It's like people who maybe could have found their way out, I pulled them back in. That bothers me that I did that, and I try not to be too hard on myself. I'm really hard on myself with everything. I'm my own worst critic. I'm one of those. Every single mistake I've ever made in my life weighs heavy on me, but I try not to let it weigh too heavy because it's just what I was doing at the time. But I do feel bad that I did that. So just getting over that hump and not only abandoning my morality, but just understanding that I am dragging people back into religion or fortifying people's religion or supporting and helping promote this religion, it would be a lot. It would be. And that's how I know I have morality. That's how I know I have a moral compass, because I just couldn't do it. Evil Drew be like, I hate evidence and you don't need to prove anything, right? I should probably go. Relax is not going to get you into hell. Maybe. Why not deism? I do think I do sometimes see deism as kind of a middle ground between theism and atheism, because at least with deism you've acknowledged that the God's not interacting with anything. that it's not there interacting, it's not doing anything. But it would just be like, oh, we can't prove it. A deistic God would be harder to prove than a theistic God, because a theistic God is at least interacting with reality. A deistic God isn't. So it would be so much harder. Um, and yeah, same thing with simulation theory, stuff like that, where we have nowhere to go. We have really no evidence for or against. So it's just, we got nothing there. And I do think the default is disbelief. So Evil Jury, we should definitely trust a really old baseless book. I don't know. Is Evil Drew just a thing now? Is that who I am at the beginning of my skits when I have the hat on, my little theist cap? Is that Evil Drew? Uh, Parroting the commenters. Um, that's really funny. I should go. I know I could get distracted by chat for like the next hour or so, but I should really go. So thank you all so much for watching, for being here, just being amazing. I'm a random nobody on the internet. I'm not smart. I'm not well studied. I I'm just kind of here, just as I put in my bio, as a human with some thoughts, trying to make the world a better place. So anyone who's willing to give me any amount of time or attention, really, 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 really appreciate it, because it's, you don't owe me anything, and there's not much here, I don't think, but maybe that's just me being overcritical of myself. Um, but anything, even just stopping by for a second, or especially engaging with chat, any likes, subscribes, follows, anything, it's really cool. So thank you uh, for any and all support. I usually go live every Tuesday night, somewhere between, I usually go for about an hour, and I'll start somewhere between 9 and 10 Central Standard Time. It's honestly whenever I put my daughter to sleep and she falls asleep, and then I can start my live. So usually somewhere between 9 and 10 Central Standard Time is when I go live every Tuesday. So maybe I'll see some more of you there. This was a really good, engaging chat. So thank you. I'm sorry I didn't get to everyone. It's kind of hard to, but thank you for being here. And I hope you all have a wonderful night, day, life. Bye.